Welcome. What I want to do today is show you how to add these two rational expressions. So when adding rational expressions or fractions, we have to make sure that we have common denominators, all right? And whenever you have common denominators, you can then just add the numerators. So it's really important for us to be able to get common denominators. And the trick to getting common denominators is it's important to sometimes get the least common denominator. But just to get common denominators, what you can do is multiply each denominator by each other to obtain what the common denominator is. However, let me just give you an example. Let's do 2/3 plus 1/4. Well, to get the common denominator, I know the common denominator, which would be the common multiple of 3 and 4, which is 12. So to get to 12, I can multiply by 4 on both sides and multiply 4 on the left side, multiply by 3 on the right side, which is the opposite denominator. Just make sure whatever you multiply on the denominator, you also multiply on the numerator. Now, that doesn't always produce the least common denominator, but we don't need always the least common denominator. We can always just get the common denominator and then simplify at the end. And that's the way I'm going to show you how to do this problem. You can see that I can divide 4n divided by 4. I can simplify that. I can also simplify this equation by factoring out a 2. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'm actually just going to get my common denominators, and then I'm just going to simplify everything at the end. So to get my common denominators, I need to multiply by a 4 over 4 on this side, and a 2n squared minus 16n on this side. Okay? So now, on the numerators, I need to do distributive. Well, here I can just get this to be 8, plus here I'm going to have to do a little distributive property. 4n times 2n squared is going to be 8n cubed, and then 4n times negative 16 is going to be a negative 74n squared. All divided by my common denominator, which is 4 times 2n squared minus 16n. All right? So now what I'm going to do is, let's see if we can, so now I have them combined. Now let's see what we can factor out and kind of simplify this. Well, up top, I notice I can factor out a 4 times 16 is 32. That's a 64. I know, I was looking at it, I'm like 74. Where am I getting 74? It's 64. Sorry. So what I can do, because obviously 8 doesn't divide into 74, but I can factor out an 8 of this numerator. So what I can do is, if I factor out an 8, I'm left with 1 plus n cubed minus 8n squared divided by, now what can I factor out of inside this parenthesis again? So I can factor out a 4 times, well, I can factor out, what can I factor out? I can in these two terms, they both share a 2. So I can factor out a 2 be times n squared minus 8n. And actually, I can factor out an n as well. So let's do 4 times 2n. Well, I'm going to rewrite this in standard form, and so therefore I'll have 8 times negative 8n squared plus n cubed plus 1 divided by 4 times 2n is 8n times n minus 8. Well, you notice here I can simplify this again. The 8's are going to cancel out. So my final answer is just, I'm running out of space, so I'll just leave it like this. My final answer is going to be negative, because 8 divided by 8 goes to 1, right? So 1 times the answer is going to be negative 8n squared plus n cubed plus 1 divided by n times n minus 8. There you go. Thanks.